Okay, so this is where it gets a little spicy with this. I have to get this very flat, detailed thing to wrap across this surface.
Hey everybody, welcome back to part 2 of, of last week's episode where I finished up this one. I started this one last week, so you got to watch the preparation on this one. This one's all done now. In this episode, I paint this mask, and this is the actual airbrush part of the job, so it's a little bit more interesting than last week's preparation stuff. I'm going to keep this short. I'll come back at the end and talk more about what I got going on. And if you're looking for the airbrush tip I told you would be in this episode, it's right around the 345 mark. I talk a little bit about an approach to a very common airbrushing technique. So look for that, check it out, enjoy the episode. I'll see you at the other end if you stick around. Later.
Okay, so this is where it gets a little spicy with this. I have to get this very flat, detailed thing to wrap across this surface, and it took me an hour to weed this vinyl to get it ready to go on. So if I mess it up, it's going to take me another hour. So a lot at stake here. Okay, everybody, I wanted to throw a pro tip in here. This was shown to me by Canadian goalie mask painter Jay Plant, legendary Jay Plant. Dude does amazing work. And when you're doing, this is his tip, and it works every time. It works beautifully. When you are doing like something that has like a glare on it, or like a shine gloss, the word's not coming to me, where you want it to look like the surface is shiny, glare, I guess. When you put down your tape to do the dark side and the light side should always be up, for the record. Dark side should always be down, because you're basically trying to replicate the reflection of basically what the background is. So like most people just do like a simple like hilly pattern. Works really well for goalie masks. You can make it as detailed or not as detailed as you want. And a lot of things that people do is they will spray the whole thing and then come back and add white to it. Jay's technique is to tape it off, spray your lower darker color like this, come in with your darker color. I always like to leave a little bit of gradient in the darker area too, just to help get a little bit more depth. I hope you guys can hear me all right, because I've got all the fans on right now. So you get in here and you get your dark side down, and then when you pull your tape carefully, now you blend down to that and you leave some white. And I think a lot of people will realize, a lot of people will notice what I'm saying is true. When you go back and add white, and this is the thing I learned from Rhino, when you don't want to add white if you can help it. It's never quite right. You would rather leave white than add white, which is why you'll never really see me painting a whole mask black and then taping over logos and then painting white back over. I just don't think it looks as good, and I think that it leaves too many edges. Personal opinion. How anybody else wants to work is their business. I am not judging, just saying for me, it's how I do it. So you leave some light here, right? And then when you come back in with your blue, you blend to that white line. It gives just a nicer, more even blend, and you can control it kind of better than you can if you go back in and add white to it. And then obviously you want to be a little darker towards the top. Anything you can do to add a little bit more depth here. I don't frequently leave it all the way to white. So then you just end up with this much nicer, cleaner, light, kind of more depth to it. And I just think this is a better look, personally, doing it this way. So yeah, there's your pro tip on creating shiny surfaces within Airbrush. Here is the eagle on top that you just watched me paint all done. All I have left now are these jet planes and a little bit of lightning detail. And this bad boy will be all wrapped up.
Okay, everyone, that was me airbrushing and stenciling stuff. So you could kind of get an idea of how involved this particular type of artwork is. There's a lot of hours that go into some of these masks, and it's a labor of love for sure. And you know, you get, when you're in it, it seems like a lot, and then when you're done, you see what you've finished. And you know, if you're like any artist, all you see is the things you wish you would have done different or better. But it's nice to have a finished product. You know, it's like, you know, this is like a thing. And if you know anything about goalies, their equipment is their favorite thing, and typically their mask is the favorite part of their equipment. So you're just taking something that they already love and making it even more lovable to them. And so, you know, it's rewarding. I enjoy doing this work. Looking forward on stuff that I'm doing here. I'm you know, there'll be some of me finishing this Nerds mask in the back. I have another of my backlog masks, which will be a Batman Joker mask, and then it's, you know, I'll be back into my normal flow of my schedule, and I'll have a lot more mask stuff to show you as we go on. I'm also, I think next week, I'm not sure. I'm gonna do an episode here where I show off my personal masks that I've collected and worn over the years, and talk about how I kind of got into becoming a goalie mask painter. It's you know, it was a long road. But anyway, I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out. This episode went longer than I wanted to. I want to try to keep these things to under 15 minutes if I can, but this one just, you know, there was a lot of work on this mask, and I wanted to show as much of it as I could. I did not show like the clear coat and stuff like that, because I can show that in any other video, and so much time was dedicated to the stenciling and the painting of this mask in this episode. So anyway, I'll be back next week. I'm not sure if it'll be the, you know, a little bit about me episode, or if it'll be more, you know, of more paint work. That may be the week after. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm making it up as I go along. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for the people who came back. Tons of new subscribers all of a sudden, which is outstanding. I love it. So yeah, I'm going to keep it up, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Later.